What's going on, world? My name is Vince Ramon. I live in DeKalb, Illinois, and this is my third message of allegations against Jim Nicodem from Christ Community Church in DeKalb, St. Charles, and other campuses, and also other people that I have listed in the titles and descriptions of my other two messages. So today I'm going to keep going with more allegations that I'm claiming of things that happened here in DeKalb to severely harass and cause much harm to my life. So today I want to start with allegations against a woman named Lama. If you listen to the last message or the last two messages, and this would help to make sense. What I am claiming so far is that I have been severely harassed by a man named Jim Nicodem of Christ Community Church in St. Charles, Illinois, and also other campuses, one here in DeKalb, and that this harassment started way back around 2009, 2010. My allegations are that this man tried to force me to have sex with a woman in his congregation. I'm alleging that this man also severely harassed me mentally and spiritually, and that I was caught up in a very dark time in which I believe that God had strengthened me to go through it, even though I did not want to have to go through the situation. I am alleging that God strengthened me to go through this harassment at that time, and that I was not able to physically force it to stop, and that I was even strengthened to go through it so that way I would hear these things and one day be able to expose him, is what I am alleging. So I'm asking for prayer and hope that anyone hears this, for prayer to God for truth and justice. I know that I may not be able to say that these are facts, but I'm just asking for prayer to God for truth and justice. So I'm alleging that this harassment was very bad, and the first two messages would make much more sense if you were able to listen to one of those. So today I am going forward with the allegations that I was also harassed by a woman named Lama. As I explained in the other messages, that this harassment has been in such a very small town. I've been threatened, I'm alleging, and harassed by so many different people that have connections in the church, I'm alleging, and some people outside of the church. And this one was hard for me to make sense of, and I still don't completely make sense of this, but I'm alleging that I was confronted by a woman named Lama, and it made no sense to me on why this woman would know me or how she knew me. I'm alleging and claiming that I'm guessing that maybe someone around her or someone with her may have recognized me. I don't know. It is a very small town and community out here, and a lot of people know each other. And so I'm just alleging that this woman, Lama, harassed me according to the things that Jim Nicodem, I'm alleging against him, wanted of my life and caused much harassment and harm of my life of. And that I have alleged in the messages that Jim Nicodem not only tried to force me to have sex with someone from his congregation. I'm alleging that he's one person on stage, but I'm also claiming and alleging that he's somebody totally different. If he corners someone that he may feel may be vulnerable, which is me, I'm alleging. If he corners someone that he tried to corner me, that because he may have thought that I was vulnerable because I had pain in my past and I was coming to the church for help. I'm not sure, but I'm alleging that this man harassed me, that he took that I'm claiming and alleging that he told me very dark and sick things, that he wanted to rape and kill children, that he tried to sexually harass me, and that I was not with what he wanted, that he tried to tell me that he wanted to have sex with men, and that bothered me very much because I believe that I'm claiming and alleging these things, and I'm claiming and alleging that it bothered me very much because I believe that he is the type of person that instead of helping someone would try to hurt people if they needed help, no matter what race or gender they are. So I'm claiming a lot of different things against him. I'm also claiming that this man told me in private. I'm also claiming and alleging that a Larry Breeden from his church told me in private that this man molested his infant children, and that to him they were like toys that he wanted to play with when he got home after his infant children being born, each one of them. So in this allegation, I'm claiming that Lama confronted me for a brief moment and ended up harassing me for this man. This is not the first time that I had been harassed in public. I'm claiming, from what I'm claiming and alleging, I'm also alleging that around 2012, I believe it may be, I was confronted by a woman at Dollar Tree in DeKalb, Illinois, is my allegation, and that this woman I did fairly recognize, but I'm not confident. I'm alleging that she resembled someone very much to me who was a mother of someone that I had gone to church with there at Christ Community for a while and had even visited that person's house. I'm sorry, grandmother. And that is my allegation, that I was confronted by the grandmother of a person that I had visited this person's house and had also went to church with this person. And I'm alleging that I was confronted by a person that very much resembled this woman at Dollar Tree. And it surprised me, shocked me, bothered me, harassed me that this person would confront me, is what I'm alleging, in a public store. This is one of the first times that I had been harassed publicly, and that this person harassed me publicly and stated that the church did not want me back, but they did want me to honor Jim Nicodem's wishes and commands for my life, which is all of the things that I had just mentioned and in the other two messages. And that bothered me very much because I'm alleging that this person not only confronted me but was laughing when they told me these things. And I'm just the type of person that if you have something to say it to my face. So I'm alleging that this person did say these things to my face, but I didn't, of course, start yelling at that time. I didn't start making threats, and I didn't cause a big scene. I just kind of took it, and I'm claiming and alleging these things, and I'm claiming that God caused me to ponder on it and hold on to it for later and hopefully expose these people. I'm also claiming that later on in life, around late in 2013 or 2014, I'm claiming that I was confronted by a woman in Jewel in DeKalb on Sycamore Road, DeKalb, Illinois, and that this woman was laughing very much in my face and confronted me in Jewel, is my allegation. And I was thinking that I recognized her from Christ Community, but I was not positive, and I did not know how this person knew me other than that it's a small town. But my allegation is that this person confronted me publicly, but a little bit privately, not in front of everybody totally, but made some comments to me of how instead of me being forced, is my allegation, that this person said, instead of me being forced to have sex with this woman, Chrystal Harness, I'm alleging that this person started laughing at me and telling me how they had somebody else that was supposed to be close to me at the time have sex with Chrystal Harness instead, and that this person was making fun of me, is my allegation, and telling me that I missed my boat, that I dropped the ball, stuff like that. And I just was caused, I'm claiming and alleging that I was caused by God to just go through it and listen to these person's words without making a big scene or physical altercation or anything, of course, and just listen to what this person said. And I'm claiming that God caused me to ponder on it and hold on to it in hopes that I would expose these people all together as one group one day. For some reason that's beyond my understanding, but that's my allegation in this, and that's my claim before God. And I'm asking for prayer for anyone that hears this, even if you do not believe me, to pray for truth and justice. So it was not very surprising to me when I was confronted by Maria Lama. Also, I'm alleging, but it did still bother me very much, and I was so tired of this. And so I'm claiming that Maria Lama, this woman I'm alleging, confronted me, and how she knew me I do not know. It bothered me very much, and made some comments on how I should have honored Jim Nicodem, and this harassment at that time had gone on still for a long time, as I'm claiming and alleging, and as I had explained in the last message, part 2, even with my allegations against Leroy Mitchell and George Joseph Mitchell from New Hope Church in DeKalb, Illinois. I'm also alleging that I'm alleging and claiming that they're totally different people outside of the public scene than they are in the public eye is my allegation against them. And I'm asking for prayer to God for truth and justice, even if you don't believe me. So when I was confronted by Maria Lama, it did not totally surprise me, but it did bother me very much. And shortly after that time, I was in front of Maria Lama at a place in Walmart, and I just blew up and said some very harsh things to her. I did not threaten or make a physical threat towards her, but I did say some harsh things to her, and the police were called on me. I said some harsh things concerning the things that I'm alleging that I was harassed about, and it's a little embarrassing, but I'm not going to totally apologize for this situation. So I did say some harsh things, and I was arrested for disorderly conduct, but I'm claiming that so much harassment and so many things have been tainted leading up to this moment. I'm going to say right now that I had been arrested before this time for being so sick of what I'm alleging against these people that I had sent emails to these people and made phone calls, and I was tired of being harassed and confronted by other people outside of the church, even after finally not going to the church anymore, Christ Community. There was a time in 2013, even 2012, when I stopped going there, I'm alleging. And I was harassed so much outside of the church. I'm claiming that I'm alleging I was so tired of it that I sent some emails and phone calls. I was tired of these people I'm alleging continue to harass me and having other people harass me is my allegation outside of the church, that I sent emails, phone calls, and I just blew up, and I was tired of it. And at that time, I just didn't have the wherewithal, the faith, and the insight to try to totally expose them. I didn't see how it could be done yet, since I did not have these things on record, and which is why I'm going public with this now and asking for truth and justice to be prayed about. I know these are allegations, and I cannot claim they are facts, especially on YouTube, but I am asking for prayer. I'm also claiming that, of course, a lot of things have been done to falsify documents. After this is my allegation against this town and some of the authorities in this town, after being arrested for this, which was March of 2020 with Maria Lama, I ended up finally taking the threat seriously from Leroy Mitchell. That I had alleged against him in the previous message, part 2. This is message part 3. I ended up taking his threat seriously. I'm alleging that he threatened me not to go to the courthouse or to the police to expose Jim Nicodem, and I ended up taking that threat seriously, and I wanted to see what would happen. So I'm alleging, and I do have public proof that I did go to the courthouse to make 2 complaints. The first time, I do have proof, so I'll just say these are facts. I went to the courthouse and towards the end of 2020 to make a public complaint. And the fact is, I saw first a Judge Joseph Peterson. Now I'm alleging that Judge Joseph Peterson made me feel very uncomfortable. I tried to just say a simple joke when I came before him, just to kind of like ease the moment, because it was very hard to say these things. And I'm alleging that Judge Joseph Peterson made me feel very uncomfortable. I'm alleging that I believe that it was handled very unprofessionally and was not taken seriously. And then after everything that I was caused to say, I thought that it would be very easy for him to tell me in the beginning that I filled out the wrong papers. I'm alleging that I did not feel right about it. And then so my statement of fact is that I went to go fill out a different order of protection or no contact or whatever it was. And the second judge that I saw that day was a Judge Montgomery. And I'm alleging that when I got before Judge Montgomery, I still felt uncomfortable being at the courthouse. I still felt uncomfortable. I'm alleging something about the people that were in the courthouse, and I felt uncomfortable the way the bailiff was looking at me and kind of made me feel and stuff, even before the proceedings started. I'm alleging that I was made to feel like maybe I just should leave or not even be there. That's what I'm alleging against the courthouse that day, even the bailiff and my allegation is that, and well, I have proof that once the proceeding started before Judge Montgomery, that I started to tell some of the information, and that as the proceeding went on, my allegation is that I was made to feel just uncomfortable, and I was asked for more information, and as I was giving more information, my allegation, and I'm still trying to get public proof and solid transcripts, I'm just a little concerned. My allegation is that the transcripts might be altered or doctored, as I'm going to make more allegations of that happening later on. So my allegation is that I was asked for more information by Joseph Montgomery, and as I was telling the story for a minute or two, my allegation is that Judge Montgomery from DeKalb County Courthouse in Illinois decided to just get up, say no, out of nowhere, didn't say anything else, that it was totally unprofessional, that while I was even still going through this or whatever, that he decided to say no, dash out of the courtroom, my allegation, that's my allegation, and that the bailiff, that I said something like, where does he think he's going, or he's not going anywhere. And my allegation is that I did say this, but I said this softly. I don't even know if the court reporter would have heard me, but I'm not worried if the court reporter did, because I did say this. I was so surprised. I'm just like, he's not going anywhere. Like, I was so surprised, I'm alleging. And I was just like, he's not going anywhere. Like, what? And that's my allegation. And then after simply stating that statement, which wasn't even very loud, I'm alleging the bailiff, I'm claiming and alleging that the bailiff was just like there and just instantly like pounced on me, almost, not literally physically, but came close to me and started to yell at me that I would be thrown out of the courtroom. And it was just so surprising to me, I'm alleging, because this same bailiff just heard the story 2 times, my claim and allegation is, of how I'm trying to make a complaint against a man named Jim Nicodem, who's trying to sexually harass and trying to force me to have sex with someone, and is trying to tell me that he wants to rape and kill children and all these other things. And the bailiff just heard this as my allegation, and instead of them being concerned for anyone's safety or my safety or any children's safety or anything, my allegation is that the bailiff just started to yell at me and try to throw me out of the courtroom, and told me that I would be thrown out of the courtroom after hearing the same message 2 times. So that really surprised me. And so then I'm also alleging that as I was leaving the courtroom, a county guard or a county sheriff, that is why I'm making allegations against the DeKalb County guards or county sheriffs as well, that a county guard sheriff came into the courtroom and in the back of the courtroom, and my allegation is that as I was leaving the courtroom, this county sheriff literally laughed in my face as I was leaving the courtroom. And that just really, really, really just did it right there as my allegation about that day. I asked for video transcripts. I asked for video record of being in the courtroom. I'm alleging, but I was told that they would have been deleted already and that I would not be able to get those. So now I'm trying to get verbal transcripts and trying to see if they're not doctored or altered, as I'm alleging that they may be. So that way the public can see of how unprofessionally it was handled for a judge, is my allegation, for a judge to just blurt out no as I'm even still speaking of more information that the judge asked me for, is what I'm claiming and alleging, that I was asked for more information, and then I'm alleging that the judge just blurted out no and just left the courtroom. Totally unprofessional, and even worse than that is my allegation. So to me, that was proof that the threat was real, I'm alleging, from Leroy Mitchell. and that to me, I'm alleging that was proof, to me, as my allegation, it was proof that this Jim Nicodem was being protected in his harassment of me, and that I'm alleging this is just a very sick town when it comes to the town's authority, and that something's going on behind the scenes is my allegation that I can't totally prove right now, but I'm asking for prayer for truth and justice, because this is just too much. This is just too much to be hidden. I'm asking for prayer that what God just says, even if I'm not believing, since I can't state that these are facts, but only make claims. There's scripture in the Bible, and if anyone does believe in God, God says that whatever is hidden in darkness will come to light. So I'm just praying that if anyone hears this, that they may pray that even if it's not believed, and I can't state their facts for YouTube purposes or anything else, I'm just praying that I'm asking that people would pray that whatever is hidden in darkness would come to light. It's a simple request. I'm not allowed to say that these are facts, but I am asking for that prayer. I believe that God says that whatever help we need in life, God says in His Word in the New Testament that it comes by the prayers of many, even sometimes. So even one person, or by the prayers of many. So I'm asking for the prayers of many, or if one person hears this and is willing to pray. So that was the next allegation, and that disturbed me very much. So after that, I'm going to state the facts that a couple months after that, I just blew up again. I didn't know what to do. I handled it wrong. I'll admit that. I handled it wrong, and I just blew up. And I just sent emails out to the courthouse. I sent emails out to the police departments, to the county sheriffs. I'm alleging that I was laughed at by a county sheriff at the courthouse for trying to expose Jim Nicodem, for trying to sexually harass me and trying to force me to have sex with someone else. And I'm alleging that this Jim Nicodem tried to tell me that he wanted to rape and kill children. I'm alleging that Jim Nicodem told me that he did have sex with his infant children, that they were like new toys that he wanted to play with. And for me, I'm alleging that was very disturbing and disgusting, and I'm alleging that I had to live with this burden and this depression for so long, and wanting to expose these people but not being able to. And so I'm alleging and claiming, I'm hoping that now God may have opened the door for me to expose these people somehow, some way, that through prayer these people might actually really be exposed finally somehow. It's hard to understand why, but I'm hoping that God will expose these people at this time and help to make that clear that He is God. That's my allegation and claim. So I blew up at this time, and I sent a bunch of emails out to the police departments, the county sheriffs, the judges. I sent emails to the people where I lived at, because I felt uncomfortable still from the previous place I lived at, so I kind of blew up on even the landlords after being harassed by the Mitchells for so long. I blew up even on the landlords where I lived, since the Mitchells were my previous landlords, is my allegation against the Mitchells. I cannot say that it's a fact that they harassed me, but I'm claiming and alleging that. And so I just blew up on a lot of people, and I sent out a bunch of nasty emails and stuff. And at first, nothing happened for a few weeks even. Nothing happened, and then finally one day is, it's a fact that nothing happened for a few weeks. And so that still does seem a little, to me, I'm alleging that seems a little funny or tricky, seems a little suspect. That's my allegation. And the next part of this and my allegations and claims, I hope is just at least heard and at least prayed about, since I'm not allowed to state that they're facts. But that sat for a few weeks, which I'm alleging seems very suspect. And then one day, which is a fact, but I did not find it on public record, which bothers me, because I have some more public record later than this. But I'm alleging that one day before I was arrested for these emails, and had my house broken into without a warrant, I'm alleging, and it is even on public record, but I'm going to state in claims and allegations that the public record has been seriously distorted, and falsified. So my claim and allegation is that one day after sending these emails, that police came to my door and they said that they wanted to know if I was making any literal physical threats, since I said a lot of nasty things and analogies in my emails. And I told them no, that I wanted to see, I told the police no, I wanted to see what happened from the emails. I told them I was very sick. I told them a story that I was very sick of being harassed by Jim Nicodem from Christ Community Church. I made that allegation to them. I made the allegation of everything that just happened at the courthouse and being laughed at by the county guard. I made those allegations, I believe, but I did make the allegation of Jim Nicodem harassing me, is my allegation of this day even. And that the police asked me if I was making any physical threats, and I told them no, that I alleged to them that Jim Nicodem and Christ Community Church and Larry Breeden would make a lot of analogies when I was at their church. This is my allegation against Jim Nicodem and Larry Breeden from Christ Community Church, is that they would make a lot of analogies and gross analogies while I was there. One of them is a saying that I'm alleging they would use when they tried to force me to have sex with this woman, Chrystal from their church. And I'm stating and claiming that they did try to force, I'm claiming and alleging that they did try to force me to have sex with Chrystal from their church, and that they would use an analogy, a saying, a statement in trying to force me to have sex with her. I'm keeping that statement hidden right now, and I'm asking that if anyone out there has also been sexually harassed, I'm asking that if anyone out there has been sexually harassed and has proof of it, that they would come forward. I'm also asking that if anyone else out there has been sexually harassed in a way that they have been told any funny statements or sayings by Jim Nicodem or Larry Breeden, that they might contact the authorities, even the federal authorities. So I'm alleging that I told the police on this day that when they came to my house that no, I was not making any physical threats, that I was only making analogies because I was very sick, I had alleged to them, of being harassed by this Jim Nicodem. So after hearing my story for a couple minutes, they said, okay, I'm alleging that they said, okay, as long as you're not making any physical threats and you're not really going to harm anybody or harm yourself, then we're going to leave you alone. And I thought that was that. I'm alleging that's what happened. I'm making that allegation, and I'm alleging and claiming that I find it very suspect that that's not on record. That would actually, to me, in my mind, I'm alleging that would prove the corruption that happened next. So now I'm alleging that happened, and then I'm stating the fact that 2 days later, the police came back to my house. And when they came back to my house, I was very disturbed. I'm just stating facts that I was very disturbed. I was very sick of having a police at my door for the allegations that I was making against Jim Nicodem, Christ Community Church, in Larry Breeden, and Jim Nicodem, and some others, and some other people. So I was very disturbed, and I'm alleging that I told the police to go away, and what I did not find in the records, I'm alleging, is that I told the police that day that if they want to talk to me, I was coming out of my house in a couple hours to go for an appointment and to wait, and then I would talk to them then. I'm alleging that I said those words to the police, and I'm alleging that what happened next was illegal and corrupt, falsified to try to get me to be quiet, is my allegation, I believe, is what was tried to be done. So I told the police, I'm alleging, that if they wanted to talk to me, to wait till I come out of the house. I can only guess or assume, but I can't state that they're facts, but I can guess that what happened next in making allegations against them, that it was done against me to falsify these things. So I told the police, I'm alleging that I told the police that I'd come out of the house in a couple hours, and that if they wanted to talk to me, just to wait until then. I'm making the allegation that the police kept knocking on my door, but I'm stating the fact that the paperwork says something totally different. The paperwork says that they did keep knocking on my door, and that I was playing loud music, which I was, and that they were disturbed and concerned for my well-being or the safety of others. I'm alleging that's false. I'm alleging that before they came to my house that day, they came to my house 2 days before, is my allegation, and I answered their question that I'm not physically threatening anyone. On the paperwork, it says that I may have threatened some counselor that was sent to me by the police a few days before by text. I'm alleging that that's false. I'm alleging that there was no concern for her safety or mine or anyone else's. Just like I'm alleging there was no concern for anyone's safety when I went to the courthouse and was trying to report this man, Jim Nicodem, who I'm alleging was telling me that he wanted to rape children, had sex with his, and wanted to force me to have sex with someone in his church. So I'm alleging I was very disturbed this day, and that on the paperwork I'm stating that the police say that they were concerned for people's safety. I'm alleging that that's false. I'm claiming that that is false because I had just answered their question 2 days before that. I'm alleging and claiming that no, I'm not trying to threaten anyone. I was just making analogies just as much as the church made analogies and trying to harass me. That's what I told the police. They said, fine, okay. They left. They said it was done. I'm making an allegation against the police. So on this day, as I'm playing music, which is a fact, and I'm telling them to please go away, and I'm alleging that I told them I have an appointment in a couple hours, and if you want to talk to me, I'll talk to you when I come out of the house. We can talk on the way to the elevator or on the way outside the door, is my allegation, and I'm also alleging that that is left off of the paperwork on this day when I was finally arrested for these emails after being to the courthouse to try to make this complaint. So after playing loud music, I went to go finish getting ready to go to the washroom, take a quick shower, get dressed, and leave the house, is the claim that I'm making. Now, on the paperwork, it says that there was gurgling noises being made from my apartment. I don't know why they would say that there was gurgling noises being made other than me brushing my teeth or taking a shower. That's my claim. But on the paperwork, it says that they were concerned because there was gurgling or gagging noises being made on the paperwork, and that after the loud music and their strong concern for safety that they decided to break into my house. I'm claiming and alleging that's false. I'm alleging there were no gagging noises being made other than me brushing my teeth and taking a shower. I'm alleging that I came out of my room immediately after brushing my teeth and finishing up getting ready to come out of my apartment almost to go to my appointment. And my allegation is, as I was coming out of my room, that the door was busted down without a warrant, that people came in with shields, took me in handcuffs, and that I was very upset. That's my allegation. So I'm alleging against the police that arrested me that day, and I do have the report number. If anyone hears this that's a lawyer and would be willing to even look into the transcripts according to my allegations, please contact me. Again, my name is Vince Ramon or Vicente Ramon in DeKalb, Illinois. This is not the route that I want to go at all. I'm hoping and trusting in God for prayer, for truth and justice according to my allegations. Even if no one believes me, I'm asking for prayer of truth and justice since I cannot state that these are facts. So I'm alleging that on the way to that the police decided to take me to the hospital and said that I had to go to the hospital for a mental evaluation, which I'm alleging very much disturbed me because 2 days earlier, these same police said that, fine, as long as you're not making any little threats, we're going to leave this alone. I'm claiming and alleging that anything that's on the paperwork that day was falsified very much, is my allegation. On the paperwork, it says that when we got to the hospital, that there was a doctor that came to see me, and the statement of fact is the doctor's name was Dave, and the last name is Neha. In Sycamore, Illinois, DeKalb Sycamore, Illinois, Kishwaukee Hospital, Northwestern Medicine. That's the fact. Now, my claim and allegation is that this doctor came in to ask me what was going on. My claim and allegation is that for the 15 minutes or so before this doctor came in, that the police were in the room with me, and one or two of them kept smiling, and once in a while they would come into the room and ask me, what's wrong, why am I acting this way? After all of this time of me making complaints, all of this time of me trying to go to the courthouse is my allegation. All of this time, I'm alleging that the police would come into the hospital room there, smiling and even almost laughing, and asking me, why am I acting this way? What's wrong with you? And that I was very much disturbed by this. I found it to be a joke. So I'm making the public allegation and claim that when this doctor, Dave, Neha, came into the room, he asked me what was going on, and I started telling from the beginning. I'm claiming and alleging that I started to tell him about Jim Nicodem trying to harass me, wanting to sexually harass me and forcing me to have sex with someone, telling me that he wants to hurt children, and that I started on this and I started to talk about biblical scripture and how I feel that this is wrong and how I'm hoping and praying that God will expose him and bring this to light. It's my allegation and claim. Now, my allegation and claim and what happened next is that this doctor all of a sudden stopped me in mid-conversation, started to walk out of the room. I'm claiming that this doctor from this hospital started to walk out of the room, laughed at me, and told me that this is my allegation, that this doctor told me that I have to stop with all of the God talk. That a little bit after that, I believe he might have come back in, but I'm alleging that he still did not want to hear me finish my story of being harassed by this Jim Nicodem and of being harassed even or hurt by the DeKalb County Courthouse. I mean, treated wrongly at the DeKalb County Courthouse. That's my allegation, is that this doctor did not want to finish hearing the story. The doctor left without giving any diagnosis, telling me anything that was going to happen, is my allegation. And then the next thing that happened, I'm alleging, is that the police came into the room with the nurse and that they were smiling, I'm alleging, telling me that I was going to be forced to take some medicine to calm down. I'm alleging that I told them I did not want any medicine in my body as I did not need it. I was very upset with what was being done to me, I'm alleging I told them. I'm alleging that I asked them repeatedly, 2 or 3 times, maybe even more, are you going to force that medicine into me physically? Are you going to hold me down, handcuff me, and force me to take this medicine if I don't want to take it? I'm alleging that the police were even almost happy about it and telling me yes. So I finally just took it willingly. I didn't even know what it was. They said it was something to calm me down. That's my allegation and claim. Now, on the paperwork, it has the doctor's name, the fact, and on the paperwork, it does not state of me telling him a story about Jim Nicodem trying to harass me. It does not state that I was telling him of my allegations of being harassed by this person and these people at the church and the courthouse. It does not state those allegations. It just says that the doctor diagnosed me as homicidal. I'm alleging before God Almighty in heaven that is completely false. And I am praying before the public right now for truth and justice. Even if the public does not believe me, I'm praying, God, right now for truth and justice, that you would expose these doctors, these police, these people at the church that I'm claiming, God, have harassed me. I can only trust in you, God, according to my allegations and claims. And if someone out there, people don't believe me, I cannot state that they're facts. So I will state that even in prayer to you, God. Even in prayer, because God, you say in your word, now I can leave these allegations alone and just state a fact about you, God. You say that you mock proud mockers, and that a day is coming. So I'm going to get back to the allegations in God in prayer before you. Since I cannot state that these are facts against these people, I'm stating, God, in prayer, that even according to my allegations, that you would bring to light what is true and just before you. I'm praying this publicly to you, Almighty God, for people to hear in the world. Amen. Even if you do not believe me, I'm just praying that you pray for truth and justice. I'm not allowed to say that these are facts, but I'm asking for prayer. So after this, I was taken to a mental home against my will, after I'm alleging that I'm stating the fact that I was taken out of my house without a warrant. I'm alleging that the only reason I was taken out of my house is because I tried to expose a man named Jim Nicodem, who tried to sexually harass me and trying to force me to have sex with someone from his church, and trying to tell me that he wanted to rape and kill kids, and that he had sex with his kids as infants is my allegation against him, and Larry Breeden and other people that I've mentioned already are my allegations and claims. So I was very upset upon entering the mental home, but I stayed cool. I kept it on cool. There was nothing else I could do, is my allegation and claim. I saw a doctor the next day or two. My allegation and claim is while I was seeing that doctor, the doctor asked me why I was there. It was a long story of why I was there. My allegation and claim is that as that doctor asked me why I was there, I started to tell that doctor, this woman, a simple story about being harassed according to my allegations and claims. The same story that I've told here, but I started to tell it very simply in a much easier version, is my allegation and claim that lasted about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. My allegation and claim is that this doctor, the fact is that this doctor diagnosed me with some type of schizophrenic, some type of disorder that, due to the story that I had just told her, I'm alleging that I asked this doctor, why would you give me this diagnosis when I just told you about being harassed by a man named Jim Nicodem that has a church close to this hospital too? And that this doctor told me that, I'm alleging that this doctor told me that when most people come to the hospital, they don't take longer than a minute to tell me why they're here. I'm alleging I found that very odd. This is a very important situation, a very important time in someone's life to be taken to a mental hospital against their will. And I'm claiming and alleging that this doctor looked at me and told me that they were going to diagnose me with all these other diagnoses and tell me that they want me to take medicine against my will because I took longer than a minute to tell my story of why I was taken to a mental hospital against my will. I'm alleging I found that to be very odd. So eventually I was let out of there. I'm stating the fact after about a week and a half or so of refusing to take any medicine for this. I went home and I was brought before court and I was charged with some things. One of the charges was dropped, 2 of them stuck, and I got in some more trouble. I've had 4 or 5 charges over this in the last few years. I'm stating the fact that I tried to go to the courthouse in 2014 to make a claim. I'm alleging that this was before I was threatened, since I'm alleging that the threat happened in 2019, not to come forward against this man at the courthouse, or else I would be in trouble, not to come forward against this man again. Not to come forward against this man, or I would be in trouble, is my allegation. So this is my story of what has happened in this town. I was going to cut this message off, and if you're listening this far, I hope that you're willing to go for another few more minutes in this message, because I have one more thing to say in allegations and claims that may help to bring this to light if someone out there is willing to come forward with truth or proof of my allegations and claims, I should say, since I'm not allowed to state that these are facts. So now I'm going to claim and allege that the corruption in the DeKalb County Courthouse and Police did not surprise me at this time. I should stop and say and calm down a little bit that I hope that people out there, that if you're experiencing any corruption, I hope that you're able to stay calm and get through it safely with God. I know that I do believe that there are good cops that do want to help and want to make it home to their families just as much as we do. But unfortunately, I am telling a story of some corruption in the police department. And I just pray to God to calm down any situation, although right now I know that it's a crazy time, but I can just pray for God's help in the world. So I have an allegation of some police corruption that I'm claiming did happen way before this even started. I'm going to make the allegation and claim that there may be other people out there that have proof of this, that I do not talk to, do not know, but who I got into an altercation with, and who I'm claiming may have proof of this if they're willing to come forward, is my allegation. In 2003, I was arrested. I'm going to make the short version real quick because I know that I might be almost confusing in this story. It's very hard for me to talk about it. It's very hard for me to stay calm and talking about this since it's been so many years, so I can only hope and pray that if anyone's hearing this, that you've had some patience with me. So the quick version is in 2003, I went to a frat party. I'm going to just state facts so that way I don't have to go through all the alleging and claims, and maybe I don't even have to say it this many times, but whatever. 2003, I went to a frat party after moving to DeKalb a few years before. I'm just going to state a claim that while I was invited that night to go out, something told me not to go out that night. I'll take my responsibility of that. Something told me not to go out. I believe it was God warning me that something's going to happen tonight. I went out anyway, drank a little bit too much. That's why I try to send messages on my other YouTube channel of trying to keep it on the cool about drinking and, temperance and, staying aware of things. Drank a little bit too much, and I can honestly say I'm claiming that I still remember before going to the frat party and pondering that, hey, I'm drinking too much, we're drinking too much. I just had a bad feeling, people call it, when you get a bad feeling, like we're drinking too much, like I feel like something's going to happen. Didn't think too much of it at the party, drank enough to where, whatever. Got to the frat party, and some things happened, and next thing you know, some people pull up in a truck. I'm not going to state too many facts because I don't want to put anybody on blast, but I am going to ask for some help. I don't feel like I'm snitching or putting anybody on blast in a bogus way because I believe that it's important for me to say this for further proof even of the corruption in this police department and what I'm alleging against them. So that night, some things happen, and the next thing you know, a fight breaks out, and I'm standing there with a stick in my hand. And some people are mad at me, and I'm mad at them, and I'm claiming and alleging that these people were mad to the point where they're rushing up on me, and I felt, I'm going to take responsibility in that I know I was drinking too much, and at that time in my life I had a lot of pain where it was very easy for me to be over-angered, especially if I was drinking, and maybe do something that I shouldn't do if I had a stick in my hand and even felt a little unsafe. So I will take the responsibility that I was irresponsible in that moment, in that night, as I knew that I shouldn't have gone there in the first place, and I was drinking too much, and I probably acted irresponsibility to help cause a situation. But I'm alleging that it wasn't only me, and that I did feel a little bit unsafe, and that I ended up hitting somebody with the stick and getting arrested. And so those are facts. Those are, the one thing I can't say as a fact is that I was made to feel unsafe. That's an allegation and a claim. Now in the paperwork later, the paperwork states that I had a stick and that I was causing problems and that other people may have been trying to diffuse the problems, and that it just states that I had a stick and it had some names written. It had a certain name, so I'm going to leave that unsaid. On the stick, it had a certain name, and then it had the word beatdown stick on it. The fight happened in 2000, I'm sorry, I said 2003 earlier. My bad. The fight happened in 2001. I'm not going to erase or edit or even re-record this message. I'm just going to trust God that if you listen this far and if you know about this, that if someone hears this, even though they're allegations and claims, that you might come forward with any proof. So, because I'm going to make some claims against the police department soon here. So, in the police report, it has that I had a stick and I used a stick as a weapon with a certain name. I'm going to leave that name off. And then it had beat down stick. And that I was arrested and I was the only one that was arrested. Now, when I read this report the next day, I'm alleging that I was made to feel very uncomfortable because I did not believe that, even though I take responsibility for what I did not believe that all the blame was on me. I'm alleging that I was told by other people that I was with that the place was littered with some sticks that night and that they were not sticks that we brought. That's my allegation and claim. Now, I can understand, have patience and mercy with anything because I was young, acting dumb, stupid, knew I shouldn't have gone out, drank too much. I take blame for my responsibility that night. But when it comes to what happened in the police report, I'm not comfortable with what happened. Because I was told that the place was littered with some sticks. I'm alleging that I was told that even when the police came, I'm alleging that they may have been dealing with some of the evidence. I'm alleging that I was the only one that was arrested. I'm claiming I was the only one that was arrested, like it was my fault and my stick. And that the officer said, I'm going to make the allegation and claim. Well, the facts were that the arresting officer was Lakis and Reyes. I'm going to make the allegation that I was very uncomfortable with this, even though I did take some responsibility. I was not comfortable with being fully charged and having my life altered for being at a place that I'm alleging was littered with some evidence that was used against me. Maybe I should have calmed down. Maybe I should have let it go in grace and mercy, but I didn't. And I don't know. Maybe it's all used together for a good purpose now. I'll have to see and trust God, since what I'm saying, I'm responsible to God, and I feel okay saying this. I don't feel petty or like I'm being bogus or snitching or anything like that. I'm hoping that this is all used for good. So I'm just going to say that I have patience, mercy, and grace for the people at the frat party today, but I'm alleging and claiming that not so much for the way the police department is being handled still. I'm making the fact that the arresting officer that night, Officer Lakis, is now a commander here, and I'm making the allegation and claim of this serious corruption in the police department today. So I'm asking that if anybody hears this and was at that frat party in 2001 on Greenbrier Road, and even if it may take some responsibility on your part as well, or whatever it may be, that it may be, if there was someone there and has proof that these are not just allegations and claims, and has proof that these are not just allegations and claims, that the police did falsify evidence, then I'm asking you to come forward. I know a name of someone that was there that was of the frat, but I'm not going to try to put anybody on blast. I'm just going to trust God. So I'm going to make the allegation and claim that when I got to court, that I'm alleging that I watched the police officers lie about some things, and that it was only my fault, my mistake, I'm going to make the allegation that I asked my lawyer at the time, Robert Carlson, to ask the police if there were any other sticks at the party that night. I'm making an allegation that I asked my lawyer, and the reason why I'm putting that on blast is because I'm stating the fact that this lawyer was later made a public defender for this county courthouse, and I'm claiming and alleging that makes me uncomfortable because of what happened this day. I'm alleging that when I talked to this lawyer in the hallway and I asked him to ask a couple of questions that would prove my case, that it was not my evidence and that it was not all my fault, even though I guess legally I would probably still have been found guilty anyway, but I still believe that this might serve a greater purpose, as my claim. I asked him to ask the police if there were any other sticks there, and if they did anything with evidence, stuff like that, something like that, if there were any other sticks there. And I'm alleging that this lawyer, Carlson, who was later working in the public defender's office and may still be, I'm not sure. I didn't check the name list these past few months or whatever, yelled at me, made me feel very uncomfortable is my allegation, asked me why. And I'm alleging that I told this lawyer because that this would help to prove the corruption. And I was yelled at, I'm alleging. And finally after this, I was so sick of what was going on, I'm alleging that I wrote a note to the judge in my case, which was a Robert Stuckert, and that I wrote a note on what really happened, that it was not my only stick, that I was partly, whatever. I just know that I wrote about evidence, I'm alleging and claiming. I believe that she heard some of that. I believe and I'm claiming and alleging that when it was time for sentencing and all that, I'm just believing, claiming, alleging that she went, took that into consideration and maybe looked at the possible corruption of the police as my allegation. That's how I felt. So I also contacted this judge, Robert Stuckert, as she just left the county courthouse. This is a fact. I have proof of this in email. I mentioned that night to her, and I mentioned that court case to her, and I tried to get her help on the corruption in the county courthouse, the alleged corruption in the county courthouse at this day and age, and I never heard back from her. I was made to feel uncomfortable about that. I'm alleging and claiming. That I believe there was so much, that I saw so much corruption that all of that made me uncomfortable. I do have the email of contacting this Robert Stuckert. I have no response in trying to get some help from that, and I was left alone to deal with these cases, get convictions thrown out of my place, and be here today, but finally led and strength and hope, according to my allegations and claims, that my allegations and claims will be heard by the world. So in this last allegation and claim against Officer Lakis from the DeKalb Police in the city of DeKalb, Illinois, who is now a commander, I'm alleging and claiming that makes me very uncomfortable, especially knowing what just happened according to my allegations and claims. I'm alleging and claiming that the police files were very much falsified in this very recent arrest, and I'm alleging and claiming that they were falsified back in 2003 when I finished up my court case from that 2001 arrest. And that makes me very uncomfortable. It makes me very uncomfortable because I'm alleging and claiming that this courthouse has protected a man named Jim Nicodem, who tried to sexually harass me by trying to force me to have sex with a woman named Chrystal Harness. I'm alleging and claiming that if this woman, Chrystal Harness, were to be willing to come forward, that I'm alleging and claiming that we had a conversation and that she knew at that time that the church was trying to force me into being with her. I'm alleging and claiming that it seemed to me that she felt entitled for some reason to me being forced with her, is my alleged claim. I'm alleging and claiming that Larry Breeden and Jim Nicodem told me these things about Jim Nicodem. I'm alleging and claiming they told me very disturbing things about Jim Nicodem's wife, Sue Nicodem. I'm alleging and claiming that Larry Breeden and Jim Nicodem also told me that Sue Nicodem is aware of his harassment and the things that he was saying and doing, and that I'm alleging and claiming that they told me that she also works as a dark worker in their church to try to harass or bring people down, acting like she's helping people. I'm making the allegation and claim against the Mitchells, Leroy, George Joseph Mitchell, and even what has happened, as I explained in the last part of this message. I'm making the allegation and claim against Maria Lama, although I don't understand how or why she would know me or even be directed to harass me. I'm making the allegation and claim that I was confronted more than 2 times, but 2 specific times at 2 different stores that I mentioned in this message for harassment from Jim Nicodem. So I'm making these allegations and claims to the public as I have prayed, and I'm asking God for truth and justice. Now, I can only make allegations and claims, but I can just pray to God for truth and justice and say that I'm praying to God for truth and justice in my community. I'm alleging that I don't feel safe, but I'm also claiming that I'm okay with that. I'm going to make the allegation and claim that I was threatened by people on the street while I was waiting for this last court case to finish up. Someone I don't even know, and I'm alleging that I don't know how they would know me. I'm going to make the claim and allegation that I was told that Jim Nicodem was trying to have the courthouse throw me in jail. I'm going to make an allegation and claim that things in my life God has caused me to remember and ponder on. I'm going to make an allegation and claim, and I'm not going to name the city in this one, but when I was about 17, maybe 18, I went somewhere one day, and I'm going to allege that a city police officer, I did go to a high crime area. I can understand I was in a high crime area. Maybe shouldn't have been there, maybe should have been there, who knows. But I can allege and claim that a city police officer tried to frame me for a shooting that had just happened. I didn't know a shooting had just happened, but when I got there, I can allege and claim that a city police officer tried to frame me for a shooting that is in this state. And so I'm alleging and claiming that this past year I had been threatened that I'm alleging I had been threatened that Jim Nicodem was trying to have the courthouse throw me in jail even for years. Now I'm going to make that allegation and claim, and if the judge that was in charge of my court case, Montgomery or anyone else, has any proof of that and they're willing to come forward, then I would ask for proof. But I cannot say it's a fact. I can only say that it's an allegation and claim. I'm making the other allegation and claim that I almost did not think about is when I first contacted the public defender's office in this last court case, that I contacted an investigator named Chrystal Harrell, not Crystal Harness. And that when I contacted this investigator, I'm alleging and claiming that I asked her on how to send information to the judges about the harassment that was done to me, and I'm claiming and alleging that this investigator yelled at me on the phone and told me to stop. That's my allegation and claim. And my claim and statement is, why would I stop trying to expose a person that would do something like this to me? That's my allegation and claim. So I'm asking once again, just for prayer. If you've heard this, maybe you can just pray for truth and justice. There's nothing wrong with me saying that publicly. There's nothing illegal about that. There's nothing anybody that I've spoken against, that I've made allegations and claims against, can do about that. That's why I've just simply asked to pray for truth and justice. Pray for truth and justice in DeKalb, Illinois. Pray for truth and justice. There's a man named Vince Ramon making these claims. Just pray for truth and justice. If you will. That's all I ask. If anyone has proof of these things, the fight on Greenbrier Road in 2001, if anyone has proof of being harassed, according to if anyone else has allegation, claim proof of being harassed by Jim Nicodem, Sue Nicodem, Larry Breeden, Brandon Matheny from Christ Community Church, formerly at least, a Don Dumbacher, a Jason Draper from Bethany Road Bible Church in Sycamore, Illinois. My allegations and claims are against them. If anyone has proof of these things, then I ask that you would come forward. These are my allegations and claims. I cannot say they are facts, but I'm asking if anyone has proof that you might come forward. So these are my statements before God. I hope that you might have had the patience or time to listen, and I hope that if you have listened that you might pray. Amen.